Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's video, we will be focusing on the best kind of fiction genres to write in. And then there are four major categories in which we can write in, which is the YA, young adults, the NA, the new adult, and then we have the adult and we have the middle grade. And regardless of which of these groups of people you want to write for, it's important you know that you first have to know your audience, what they really like to read. So today we're going to discuss this in its entirety. So I would like you to like the video, share if you will, and then give us a comment on your thoughts or questions regarding to what we will discuss today. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Like I said earlier on, I'm Williams, and today we will be focusing on what works for the four age range in terms of fiction writing. So I would like us to first look at the young adult, which is the YA. Now, when we say YA, which is the young adults, we are talking about people within the age range of 12 to 18 years old. And what really sells for those that this age range is the fantasy book, romance, the, the story, and the mystery books. And before you can actually start writing, you first have to know what to write on or what is trending. So, meaning you have to do a little bit of research. They are all profitable, but you just have to make a little bit of research to really understand this audience and what really sells within the space. It is important you know this. And then platforms that will really help you to sell, as usual, is always TikTok and then Quora and Pinterest. But it's important to know your audience and what is really moving. Okay. So next we will focus on the new adults. For this side, it's age 18 to 25. And then the top genre in this kind of book is romance, dark romance, college romance, and then fantasy romance and urban romance, which is one of the highest growth market because this is where you find students who lives on the hostel or the dormitory lifestyle, just college people. They're just trying to get books that will pass them by. So these are your target audience, and you always have to know the trend in which the orders are coming in. You don't just go about writing in all of the genres. No, you have to pick what works for you as an author and understand your audience, the kind of stories or books that they like before you start writing on. So if you pick an urban fantasy, you first have to understand how does urban fantasy work, what you're going to write on that will excite the readers to keep them engaged to your book. Those are things you have to focus on. And then lastly, we go to the adults, which is the 18 plus. Mostly what really sells, and then it is the most sellable category in across all genres that comes. I think you've noticed that romance keeps repeating, trailers keep repeat. No, actually, this is the first time trailer has actually come in, and then we have the fantasy, which is consistent, and then we have sycophancy or science fiction. These ones are the most sellable category based on the adult purchasing sales mode. This is why I said earlier on, it's important you know what your audience really like. There are some people who focuses only on romance, and then there are some people who focuses only on trailers like action. You know, there are some who focuses on fantasy, which is the trailers, the crime, and other stuff. Yeah, And then the science fiction, outer space, or someone with superpower and all those ones. You have to know your audience, what type of book to write, and what time to publish certain kind of book. That's what Amazon have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. It's very important. This is why you have to pick a category and master that category. That anytime you publish anything, it sells. So lastly, we'll be looking at the what? The middle age. And for middle age, our focus will be on the 8 to 12 years old, which is fantasy, adventure, humors. After all, these are kids. And then you have to kind of like select the language or tone of language you will be writing in, because often parents read to their kids. So if you want to go into this kind of niche, it's very important. Like I said, and I've kept saying, you know your target audience. It's very important, which is the school market. It's kind of like when one parent buys this book and then the kid loves it, the parent loves, they recommend it. Before you look, the entire community has it. This is how this kind of books really sell. And lastly, we will look at the profitability by audience. Good. So as you can see, across the full age range or full target audience, adult stands out, followed by new adult, young adult before the middle grade. And then those are the top three categories that really sell, which is romance, fantasy, and trailer. If we talk about romance, we are talking about love stories like 1846, like the billionaire, all those kind of things. Then fantasy, we're talking about there's a lot that goes on trailer, crime, horror, and all those things. So it's very important you know whom you are selling to and what they are interested in buying. That is the only way you're going to make it. Because there are some people who actually write these kinds of books, but they are not making sale because they are targeting the wrong audience with the right product. You can write the right product and target the wrong audience. It's very possible. So this is why you always have to know your audience before you start writing. In knowing your audience, understand them and understand what works for them and what they are engaged into. That way you can target them. That way that targeting them is much easier than anything else. So my name is Williams once again. If you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe, and try to share. Of course, it's free. It helps us grow as well, so it's very important. So I'll see you in the next one where we can actually start selecting and writing our novels. Bye bye. Have a great day.